Through the chair, roll call has been taken.
Thank you. The chair actually is not here. I'm sitting in his vice chair because she's got a town appointment and she wasn't sure if she's gonna make it back. And given the weather, I'm guessing she's not gonna make it till after the meeting's done. Do we have any presentations or delegations? I don't think so. No? Okay. We have one item for consideration. The police services facility redevelopment project. Who's taking the lead on this?
I can definitely give an overview through the chair.
Yep.
So the analysis discusses several things, including how far we've come with the design. Schematic design is now signed off, which means we can move forward into construction drawings and design development. So that's good news. We have identified the building as a zero carbon building design. So there's been some energy that's been provided by sub-consultants to show efficiencies that have been achieved to date, and they'll continue to work on those to see what further improvements can be made. We've also finished the agreement of purchase and sale for Embers Lands, and their permit is now released, and their site plan application has been released as well. And we've moved on into our own site plan control, where our SPA package or site plan application package is underway through our consultants who are here today and can speak to that. So that all that will pave the way for permits to be issued according to this construction schedule that we have attached to this report. The other thing that we've been able to do is look to pre-qualifying general contractors. So we've got purchasing with us in partnership, creating a document that's going to go out for seeing what general contractors would be interested. I think we now have actually a team of people who will be reviewing that. So there's myself, there's some other city staff and a police representative. So we'll be able to look objectively and see who has the best responses to those. So however many apply, we'll be reviewing them, and I think we're going to be looking at 6 in total. So that's good news. Furniture, fixtures, and equipment. You can see in the report that the police have been purchasing some sit-stand workstations. I think their ergonomic assessment were good. So that's just something that's new. We'll have to incorporate into the floor plans. But we're also working on looking at the city centers of record list to see who we can procure or look to for the systems furniture component. Because it's like that additional funding that came through, the 17.7 million. So we have to look through and make sure that we've got adequate funding for the systems furniture. So all of that's in the drawings that the consultant has done. So that will be ongoing as we look through and see what kind of systems furniture we can procure. The project schedule, we're on track. We've had a little bit of delay with regards to signing off on the schematic design, but I think that's all been actually pretty good because it's allowed us to fine tune the floor plan so that we don't have major changes later on, which is always good in cost avoidance of, if you have change orders and so on. But I think we really work to minimize that now. So we're on schedule still for the milestones that you see here on table 1, where we'll be completing construction documents by the end of May, and then permits will be submitted hopefully in May, with breaking ground in August is our goal. And I think that's basically the synopsis. We also had a radio tower where we did look to try to get that out of the way so that we could continue breaking ground for Block A. So that's a work in progress still. I think the next report will show how far we've come with that. And the tourism building won't be fit out until August. We're kind of sharing it right now. I've created a shared calendar so that we can all see who else can use the building. And the police are using it primarily, of course, still. And we've set up a journal for funding that, the operational costs for that, so that I can see what costs are impacted, like cleaning and so on. So every time it needs to be cleaned, I get contacted and I say, yes, please make sure it's ready for the next one. So we're not just, we're only managing the building on an as-needed basis to keep costs under control. I think that's about it. If you have questions about the report, I'd be glad to receive them.
You said you had 6 submissions for the pre-qualification already?
We have no submissions yet. We're just in the stage where we're going to be releasing it to the public for them to the general contractors to read it and provide feedback. So we're not there yet.
We're looking to pre-qualify 6 general contractors.
Oh, okay, you're hoping to get
Yeah.
enough qualified,
Yeah.
for the yellow 6.
Correct.
And the radio tower, it said something about, needed to be, the contract needed to be renewed. We did that at the last police board meeting, so is that progressive?
Through the chair, I would defer to the police representative for.
So run that question by me again.
At the last board meeting, I think we passed the extension of the contract, with the radio tower.
Yeah, there's details that the deputy can speak to.
Okay. Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, through the chair, hopefully you guys are able to hear me. Internet connection doesn't seem to be very good. But yes, now that the board has passed that motion, it's allowed us to move forward. So we're just going to be entering negotiations. We're just waiting to hear me.
You lost them.
So through the chair, I can follow up further just to note that the Class C estimate showed a cost associated with moving that. And so what I'm working to do is see that mitigated where the Class B estimate do not capture that cost. And further information will be disclosed either at the next police board meeting or the next police station task force.
What was the cost associated with that?
So, through the chair, I believe that the cost was associated at a Class C estimate was 140,000. Higher
If we get
potentially.
them to do it, then that saves us under.
Cost avoid.
Good. Any other questions, comments? Move this to get it on the floor.
Yeah.
I do have a question though. I just have a quick question. So the due diligence period on the EPS extends to June, but we're hoping to have our permits in by May. When do you think the due diligence, like when are we gonna firm up on the APS? Do you think?
So through the chair, the APS allows 1 year total for all of the due diligence. So if there's soil contamination or any kind of components in the land sale, we have 1 year to rectify those issues legally. But I don't think that that relates to the building permit necessarily.
It shouldn't affect the building permit. It might have some bearing on the site plan approval process, but we have, as Christina said, we have a period that we can extend the due diligence period if we need it, but we don't anticipate running into any issues. So.
And we also, through the chair, hired a consultant to look at the soil and the hydrogy and components related to the site engineering drawings, basically. And those have been given over, so we really front loaded that risk so that that would be minimized.
That's where I was going with that, because typically you can apply for the building permit if you haven't done your due diligence and you know what you're working with, but I wasn't sure. Okay.
Yes, and then there's also a component of when you're building and there's a grade of land and if you have to remove soil offsite and so on. That is being held as a placeholder under that PO that we issued. Because we don't know how much soil will be moved yet. So, but we know that it's not contaminated, so it's just a matter of getting the certificates to move it properly.
Sounds good. And all move this.
I guess it's just two voting members. How do we get the seconder to this?
You're the seconder.
I am. Because it's only two of us, chair and second.
Yeah.
All right. And so there's no reason to believe that there's contamination,
No,
and since there's no basement, there's gonna be a lot of soil there.
right, and there's, well, we have some land around block A where there's a retaining wall and so on. Maybe we have some little line lands here where there's the stormwater that we have to manage, but there's no high water table. Yeah. It's looking good.
Yeah. Say, seeing no further questions or comments, all in favor? Carried unanimously.
Okay.
Minutes, moved by Counselor Sokolich, seconded by myself. All in favor? Carried unanimously. No resolutions, no notice of motion?
No.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Safe driving.
Thank
everyone.